So we are all surveyors here, Abby. So thank you so much. You can welcome the person next to you and just give a warm handshake to the person. We'll still do meet and greet, but you can greet the person next to you and say you are welcome to the YSN conference. Today is day 1, 15th of May. We are currently at the NIS Plaza with coordinates 600,804.545 meter eastings, 819,637.437 meter northings. We are 214.17 meter above mean sea level. So if you don't believe me, check Google. I'm also a surveyor. I studied it for 9 years too. So clap for me now, at least now. I'm a surveyor. It's because I'm an MC, so I know people. So right about now, we are not going to take your time. And I want to assure you that it's going to be educative. We are going to have a good time. And I'm telling you that this is going to be the best YSN meeting in the whole of Nigeria. Just because I'm the one hosting it. They didn't call me in other states, so you can never beat this one. So there's no time for that one. So thank you so much. To those that I know and those that I don't know, you are welcome. My daddies, my brothers, my senior colleagues, my junior colleagues, you are welcome. So thank you so much. Right about now, we are going to have the introduction of some of our dignitaries that are here present. We are all special. So, but we are going to introduce some people to the I table, those that we give them some assignments and some other things to do. So you are going to permit me to welcome one after the other. We are going to have our keynote speaker, who is Professor Jide Kufuniyi, the keynote speaker. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you for honoring us, sir. Thank you very much, Daddy. Thank you, sir. The smile in Daddy's face is giving me a green light. Thank you very much, sir. Please don't forget, let's clap very well. I know surveyors don't clap. It is the only thing we do is po, but we will not do that here. We are, So the second person, special invitee we are having today, who came to honor us here, we have our chief host, our father, our mentor, and our daddy himself. We have the chief host, the NIS chairman, Oyo State, Surveyor W.A. Lamidi, MNIS. Please put your hands together for him. You are not clapping, let him, please. Usher. Thank you, sir. Daddy, please, this is your honorable sis. Please keep clapping. Those that are not clapping, that they have not registered, please note their faces. We might delay your registration, your soccer, no. Makato, you are not clapping. Daddy, don't worry. Me, I have I will influence it, don't worry. If you are not clapping here, we are noting your faces. No registration for you. So, we also have here the rector of the Polytechnic, the director of Polytechnic Shaki, who is Surveyor Dr. Sikiru Adetono Ajibola, MNIS, who is our guest of honor, ably represented by Surveyor Oladepo John. Please put your hands together for... Please keep clapping, sir. Keep clapping. Thank you very much, sir. You can have your seat here, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So we have other guests that right on their way. And I'm going to invite also on the seat here Honorable Shola Owolabi, a member representing Ibadan Northeast 2 State Constituency. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Thank you. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you very much, sir. Are you feeling the AC? Or we should turn it to you're okay, sir? Okay, good. Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so we also have here, as I was introducing our special guests that have honored us today. So our one of our speakers also, he walked in. Are you ready to meet him? Are you ready to meet him? I've told you this is not just one general meeting you came for. It's going to be a life-changing and insightful one. So let's welcome Mr. Edmond Obilo. Please put your hands together for him. He's our guest speaker. He's our guest speaker. He's our guest speaker. Yeah. Mr. Desmond, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Edmond, thank you very much, sir, for coming. That sound the DJ played, we know how much they used to pay for it. Oh. So it's specially played. Please play it one more time. It's not small sound, though. So protocol, before he goes. Should they play one more time, please? Specially prepared for you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring the surveyors. Don't worry, I will do your first survey for you for free. When you buy land in Lagos, in my area, so do it for free for you. But you will pay you pay mandatory fee, but I'll do it for free. I won't collect money for GPS from you. So we have the chairman of the day is present here. Our own chairman of the day, Professor Raphael Afonja, FNSE, the former commissioner for works on your state. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Bolu, keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you very much. Professor, sir, when I grow up, I want to be like you. My chair, good. Our chairman of the day, sir. Let me snap a picture with you too, please. Yes. Snap. 2000. Just hold on. You don't know what I want to use the picture for. I'll go and buy land at Alakia. I'll use the picture as payment. So anything that happened in this Oyo state, you hold my mentor, because I'm looking up to you now. I want to be like you when I grow up. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As our guests walk in, I am going to introduce them. So thank you so much for taking out your time. Please, Young Surveyors Network, put a round of applause for yourself. Clap for yourself. This is an amazing event that we have started. And let me use my mother tongue, Konija Shemo. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. Thank you so much. So I'm going to bring in my brother up also. When we first spoke on the phone, he's calling me his boss. When I came here, I discovered that he's my boss. So you should know that there is boss and there is trailer. So it's not just a boss, it's a luxurious boss. So let's welcome my brother. I'm meeting him today, and I've met him on phone already. He's the one who has been the pilot. You know, we have pilot, we have co-pilot, we have crew member. So he's the main pilot of the YSN or your state chapter. So with his initiative, this has come to be, you know, with the help of the crew members and everything. So please, let's welcome Surveyor Ijala Peter to sit down. Clap for your chairman now. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. That suit, will it size me? So after the program, we'll collect the suit, take it back to Lagos to go and work. Right about now, as our guests are coming in, like I said, I'm going to be introducing them in. My name is Tomiwa Downsy. I am also a surveyor, but not registered. About to register. They are begging me, but I just said, I'll do it when I like to do it. I just don't want to do it. I'll do it when I like. So, are you ready to... We are going to have the national anthem now as I welcome Miss Boluwatife Bamishile to sing the national anthem. Clap for her. This fine girl. Yeah? Okay. Okay. So please, can we rise up and honor our nation? So we have the national anthem, then we have the Oyo State anthem. Thank you, Bolu.
Thank you very much. Arise, O compatriot, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of a hero's past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Thank you very much.
Ọmọ
Thank you very much. You may have your seats. Thank you very much. Beyond boundaries, geospatial solution for global challenges. Beyond boundaries. Thank you so much again for coming. Before we go into the next item on the program, please, I want to crave the indulgence of our fellows of this profession. We honor you greatly and we salute your tenacity and the number of years and experience you have spent. Thank you so much for honoring us. Please, our fellows, please, as we clap for you, please, you can occupy the first seat in front here. Please, that is, if you are a fellow in the house, please, Ejo, Eba will occupy front seat behind our dignitaries this morning. I'm not saying our daddies, so please clap for them. It's not easy to be a fellow. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sirs. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Are you ready? I have a lot of story to tell. I know that our fellows, they have been through thick and thin, the rain and the shine and the sunshine. So we are going to be like you one of these days. So we honor you, sirs. We greet you specially. So right about now, we are going to be eating the points one by one. So let's welcome I've introduced him before, but he's coming to give the welcome address. He's the host, the state chair, Surveyor, the state chair YSN Oyo, Surveyor Ijaola Peter, to give the welcome address. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward for that.
The chairman of the day, my own leader and boss, Professor Raphael Afonja, FNSC, Honorable Commissioner for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, in absentia, Mr. Akin Fumilayo Williams. Essay to the Governor on Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Honorable Kunle Akinshete, in absentia. Member representing Ibadan Northeast 2-state constituency, Honorable Shola Owolabi. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Mrs. Mofoluke Adebiyi. The keynote speaker, Professor Jide Kufuni, FNIS. The guest speaker, Mr. Edmond Obilo. The chief host and the chairman, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Oyo State Chapter, Surveyor W.A. Lamidi, MNIS. The rector, Okeogun Polytechnic, Shaki, Surveyor Dr. Shikiru Adetono Ajibola, MNIS, ably represented by Surveyor Joga. The coordinating director, Office of the Surveyor General of your state, Surveyor Hehu Okunlola. Highly respected fellows of the institution, all invited guests, members of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Oyo State, members of the Young Surveyors Network, Oyo State, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Young Surveyors Network, Oyo State, I am humbled and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to YSN Oyo Harvest of Ideas Conference. The HOI is an annual event of the YSN, which is aimed at providing avenues for exchange of idea, knowledge, and providing a platform for mentorship and capacity building of young surveyors in our community. The YSN is a subgroup of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, founded since 1934. The Young Surveyors Network provides members with the voice, connection, and opportunities they need to make a difference and guide the future of the profession. Since its inauguration, the YSN Oyo has recorded remarkable achievements, such as periodical seminar organizations, interactive forum provided by the network have facilitated peace, love, unity, and a more tandem working relationship among the young surveyors and the leadership of the institution. The Catch Them Young stroke mapping the future program that aimed at encouraging students of surveying and geoinformatics at all institutions of learning and also extended to the students of secondary school is booming. The annual SOCON symposium for candidates seeking to be registered. This is evident with the number of our members that passed the SOCON examination over the past years. And we recently had the overall best student in folio presentation from Oyo State. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. And I also want to take the moment to eulogize the past leaders of the YSN in Oyo State. Today, history is being made. We gather here under the theme, Beyond Boundaries, Geospatial Solutions for Global Challenges, a theme that resonates deeply with the mission and vision of our network in a world faced with increasingly complex challenges, from climate change to urbanization. The role of geospatial professional has never been more crucial. Geospatial Solutions offer us the tools and insights to transcend traditional boundaries and address these challenges head-on. The speakers have been carefully selected. The keynote speaker, Professor Jide Kufoniyi, FNIS, has made an indelible impact in the surveying and GIS field and a father to the young surveyors throughout the country. He will be sharing his wealth of experience and providing insights that will enrich our professional lives. The guest speaker, Mr. Edmond Obilo, the radio man, is a dynamic and inspirational speaker who will come with a mind shift approach to inspire and motivate us on the selected team. The chairman of the day, Professor Raphael Afonja, FNSC, will lead the proceedings of this event with an unmatched professionalism. The HOI is a 3-day event, which, with the glory of God, starts today. Tomorrow, to be another business, where we will be at the Federal School of Surveying, Oyo, where seasoned experts in various fields of surveying will be taking us on practical trainings. These trainings tomorrow will be at the beginners or intermediate levels, while there are plans on ground to take it to an advanced level after the HOI. The conference dinner will be coming up on Friday, where we will have an environment to socialize together. As young surveyors, we are uniquely positioned to drive innovations and harness the power of geospatial technology to create positive change. This conference serves as a platform for us to share advice, ideas, exchange knowledge, and explore the new possibilities of collaboration. Together, let us embrace the spirit of innovation, creativity, and collaboration as we chart a course towards a more sustainable and a resilient future. I encourage each and everyone to actively participate and engage in meaningful discussions and seize the opportunities that lie beyond boundaries. I want to take this moment to thank the leadership of and staff of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Oyo State Chapter, headed by our father, the chairman, Surveyor Wahid Abiodun Lamidi, MNIS. I want to thank the leadership of the APPSN, the NASGU, and the women in surveying. And also to the Achievers crew, the executives of Young Surveyors Network, Oyo, for coming up together to put this befitting event. The planning committee, headed by Surveyor Olaitan Olariwaju, MNIS, our sponsors, and invited guests. Thank you for joining us today, and I wish us all a productive and inspiring conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my state chair. Please put your hands together for him one more time. Thank you for such a wonderful and intelligent speech. So, like I said, please, if you are citing any of our fellows coming in, please direct them to the front row here, behind our dignitaries here. So we recognize you, and still in the spirit of recognition, right? So we recognize the YSN African Chair, Savio David Elegbede. Please, wherever you are, please put your hands together for him. Thank you so much. We have the YSN Southwest Chair, Savio Adeoye Olukayode. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. We also have YSN Lagos State, led by the state chair. If you are from Lagos, please let us see you. Please, you can stand up for recognition. Thank you very much for. You want it? Sorry, Enyini. Erama. Choko Ejepo. You are welcome, ma. Miss Grace. Jesus. Did I remember your name? Am I correct? No, so I know your name. I'm just trying to be sure if you remember your name. I know your name is Ebonlua. I know. Put your hands together for she's my colleague, so put your hands together for her. So, thank you so much for coming. So, right about now, we are going to the next item on the program. Like I said, we are going to be doing this, as it comes. So, please, I would love that we put our hands together as I welcome the speech by the chief host, the man who has given us this place to use and who has made it possible for us to gather here. No other person but the NIS chairman or your state, Savio W.A. Lamidi, MNIS. Please put your hands together for our daddy as he comes up for his speech, sir.
The chairman of this great occasion, Professor Raphael Afonja, FNSE, the keynote speaker, our own Professor Jide Kufoni, FNIS, the dynamic and inspirational guest speaker, Mr. Edmond Obilo. You are welcome to our midst. The rector of Okeogun Polytechnic, ably represented by John Oladipo, one of our own here. The honorable members of the State House Assembly, Honorable Sola, Olusola, the fellows of our great institution here present, other invited guests, the pressmen, the YSN members, in which I'm one of them. You are all welcome to this great occasion. Well, I don't want to spend too much on the address by establishing too much protocol. Well, without taking much of your time, let me also recognize the chairman of YSN Oyo State Branch for the program they are doing today and the effort he has made to make this program a success. I give kudos to you and other members of the YSN. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this past Pacesetter State, where this year's Young Saviors Network YSN Harvest of Idea 2024 conference is holding. The theme of this conference, Beyond Boundaries, Geospatial Solutions for Global Challenges. Glory to Almighty God that we have some government functionaries, both past and present physically at this occasion. The importance of geospatial information cannot be overemphasized because for any government to have meaningful progress and development, I want to say categorically that the present government have not been making use of the professionals, especially with the surveyors. They are in charge of data, which could be used to generate more funds to the government. I will not talk too much on it because both the keynote speaker as well as the guest speaker have done thorough research, which I believe we are going to gain very well at today's program. I hereby welcome you all to this year Young Saviors Network, Harvest of Idea. Let us remain calm and stay till the end of the program, whereby series of ideas will be shared among members. I call them leaders of tomorrow today, and not tomorrow as we normally call them. Because initially we normally call them leaders of tomorrow, but they have changed their attitude now. I'm now calling them leaders of today, not tomorrow again. Now, this is why I'm saying this. For them to have brought 2 professors to this program and Mr. Edmond Obilo to this one, it means they have done a very good, thorough job. So I give close to you all for what you have done. May Almighty God bless every one of us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Please put your hands together again for our... So, I want to also, in the spirit of recognition, also recognize the BCOS. Thank you so much for coming. All the member of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, please put your hands together for them. I just put your hands together for them. Thank you so much again for coming. The women in surveying, thank you so much. Clap for yourself, women in surveying now. It's not easy. Clap for yourself. Thank you so much. Then the YSN at large, professionals and all of us that are young in this profession, put your hands together for yourself also. Hold on, let me warn you now. A note, you will clap. Oh. Some people you see is a boniki to rub behind when they get home. So if I say clap, clap. Thank you very much. The way you clap, as you are going, you will show your hand to the protocol. There is mark for that, for second exam. I will make sure that is taken note. Chairman, you people don't know me. You don't know who is standing in front of you. I can call this of your general of the federation. Any number was that? All right, so right about now, we are going to the next item on the program. So we have the opening remark. We are already going, and don't forget we are doing this beyond boundaries, geospatial solutions for global challenge, harvest of ideas. I'm very sure that this generation of surveyors are going to bring the dream of our predecessors to pass. You know, bringing in ideas and everything that will turn Nigeria around, so that surveyors won't be running to Australia and America and all the likes. We have a lot of work to do here in Nigeria. So that is part of why we are having this conference. It's a 3-day conference. That's 72 hours. So it's not, we didn't just come here to gather and wine and dine. We came here to learn. So thank you again, the organizers of this amazing YSN in Oyo State chapter. So let's welcome the chairman of, please, DJ. You will play that bong. So when he hears that bong, that's 100K. Another bong. The number of bong you do will determine the number of bong you will hear in your alerts. In your so let us do enough bong. Thank you. Take my phone. You want to take my life? By me. Okay, so we have the opening remark from the chairman of the day. No other person than my daddy, my uncle, my daddy's younger brother, Professor Raphael Afonja, FNSE. Please put your hands together for him as he. Thank you very much, sir. The former commissioner for works of your state. Put your hands together for him one more time.
Good morning, I guess. Morning, we're still in the morning time, right? Thanks for having me. I believe this is my major outing since I left office. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be the chairperson for this program or this event. Let me stand on the existing protocol. But I'm happy to meet Mr. Edmond for the first time. I see you far from online and stuff like that. So it's good to meet you. Professor, it's nice meeting you, sir. Honorable Olabi, it's been a while. It's good seeing you as well. And the chairman of the NIS, it's nice meeting you, sir. Savio, thanks for having me. I think these two, the theme and the topic that was put together, I think is very interesting for me. From when you talk about the boundaries, I think about multidisciplinary. Surveyors, to me, I think surveyors are basically sell short when it comes to their profession. You guys are very, very important to every other field that are out there. from engineering to environmental. You guys are a gem, a gem. Because when it comes to data mining, when it comes to analysis, extractions of information, extrapolation using mathematics, these are all GIS tools, these are other surveying. So I applaud you guys for what you do, and we need to appreciate you guys even more. As you all know, Governor Seyi Makinde has actually either reconstructed or basically constructed or rehabilitated over 275 kilometer roads. Guess what? Without you guys, he can't get it done. So we should thank the governor for his vision, for what he has done so far for the state of Oyo, for his commitment. We should applaud him and thank him for what he has done to connect the state, including the circular project. Beyond boundaries, like I said, it's more of like a multidisciplinary thing. And when you talk about the topic, which is the data-driven governance, for me, that's also a big deal. And without automating governance or the government and their system and the mechanisms, you have issues when it comes to due process. You have corruptions, right? You have basically not being able to track your assets, not be able to track your infrastructures, not be able to plan or mitigate for flood issues. And guess who's doing that? The surveyors are the ones who can make it happen. So thank you for having this kind of program. I also want to kind of like speak to the fellows, the senior surveyors, to basically in a way bring along the young surveyors. Basically, I want you guys to encourage them. They are the leader of today, like the chief has said earlier, that these young surveyors are the leaders of today, and they need your mentorship. Mentorship is the way to go. What we've seen online so far, we've seen a lot of social media mentoring our kids, right? And we need real mentors in every field to mentor our kids, our children, upcoming children, and young surveyors who are out there as well. So I'm asking you guys to make it your duty, even after retirement, that we encourage our young surveyors, encourage our kids in any field that will basically make our country more productive. I mentioned earlier that the governor has left a lot of, when it comes to legacy, when it comes to the road network. A lot of people, when they see surveyors as somebody who's in charge of maybe only roads or surveyors for land and estates. But like I said earlier, they are way beyond that. And having this kind of program, we're enlightening the people, the public, on what contribution this field has done so far for our society and in terms of solving a lot of global challenges. So I thank you guys for having me here. I really appreciate you all for this opportunity and for coming. I won't talk too much, but in order to support these young men and women, I'll be giving them 1 million naira towards their program. When I was in office, I took it personally that we have to partner with professional bodies and societies. And as a civil engineer, which is my own profession, I'm also an ex-military man. I was in the army for 10 years. I made sure that any project we're doing, even when it comes to consultancies, I engage the NSE to make sure that they play a role. And when I met with them, I told them also, I said, if you're driving, let's say you don't have a project with Oyo State government, you're just driving down the road, and you see an ongoing project and you see something wrong with it, it is your duty and the ethics that guides all these bodies for you to speak up. Or if you don't want to approach them, speak to whoever is in charge of the project and tell them something is going wrong, this is what we can do to make this work. So I'm also asking you guys as well, when you're out there as professionals, make sure that you engage wherever is happening and make sure you give us feedbacks or government feedbacks. You have our honorable here too. It will be a listening ear to be able to pass that kind of information back to the government anytime that comes off. So please, I'm asking even the government to basically partner more with professional bodies in Oyo State. Oyo State is owned by all of us, not just one person. So we have to find a way to support the governor to make sure he succeeds. And I hope one day I will also help to contribute to Oyo State in the nearest future. I also hope that the legacy that the governor is leaving behind, a lot of us will step up and also make sure that we continue on that path. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a good day.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together again for Surveyor Professor Raphael Afonja, honorary surveyor. Honorary surveyor. So honorary fellow. Then you will see me personally, so I can give you your seal. So we can do that personally, sir. It's not 1 million, no, just 500 is okay. We'll manage it. So where's your PA, sir? We need to get his number. DJ, play that in again. Oh, play Meji. 700 times 100,000 times 7. Empty. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the opening remark. So right about now, we are moving on. The train is fast moving. Some of my colleagues walked in. Some of my senior colleagues walked in. You're welcome. Thank you for gracing this occasion. And so right about now, we are going to be having the goodwill messages. So I'll be calling out, some names, and they will give us their goodwill messages. So in the space of 1 minute, 60 seconds, 1 minute, 2 seconds. That's 62 seconds. So please welcome with me as I bring up as I handle the mic to the YSN African chair for his goodwill message, Surveyor David Ilegbede. Please put your hands together for him as he comes for his goodwill message. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, keynote speakers, the chairman, the chief host of today's gathering. That's the chairman of NIS Oyo State. I almost said Lagos, don't mind me. The prof himself, met him in many YSN events. Thank you for always supporting. All other guests here present, and the host himself, and dear friends and colleagues, fellows and elders of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. I bring you warm greetings from the FIG YSN, led by Shirley Shapunza, and I'm pleased to have graced this welcoming reception into the 2024 Harvest of Ideas Conference with the theme Beyond Boundaries: Geospatial Solutions for Global Challenges. I would like to also seize the opportunity to congratulate the state chair, YSN Oyo, and his team for putting up a colorful event, and the chief host himself, the chairman, NIS Oyo. Obviously, the beauty we see here today is a reflection of the care and the love bestowed on the members of the network in Oyo State, and we are pleased to, of course, when Yoruba says that Tabare Moba, Amari Dansaki, no. So to all elders present here, thank you for not leaving the Young Surveyors Network here to their show. You could have also said that it is for the young and you don't want to come. Although we have our age limitations constrained here, but we cannot do without your moral guidance, advices, and financial support. Of course, in your so we'll still have to come together to see how we can contribute to the profession. The theme before us today should serve as a wake-up call for all, irrespective of our ages, irrespective of our cadre. There is no better time to talk about the future than now. Invariably, the future is even now itself. We need to be stereoscopic in our thinking without losing our standards and our ethical values. We cannot remain rigid in our ways and approach. We should not be hyping a technology in its first generation when our colleagues in other countries are already in their third generation of that same technology. The earth is revolving, the rotation is not stopping, the earlier we swift to action, the better. I'd like to conclude with this, and apologies to the elders here. The Yoruba adage that says that Igba ò lọ bí òréré, of course, ayé ò dúró sójú kan, ayé ò lọ bí ọ̀pá ìbọn. Bí òní ṣe rí, ọ̀la lè má rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ìgbàlá ní ẹnìkan ò ń lólé ayé gbó. Thank you very much.
Hello, two. Put your hands together for the YSN African Chair, Savio David Elegbede. Thank you so much for your goodwill message. So, the next person I'm calling up here is the YSN Nigeria. YSN Nigerian. So, Savio Adediji Adegoke. Please put your hands together for him as he comes for his goodwill message. Thank you very much. JC.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much for the correction. Good morning, everybody. So, I would like to recognize the presence of the chairman of the occasion, the person of Professor Raphael Afonja. You're welcome, sir. I also try to recognize. Sorry, I'm a JC, so we have to, follow these things. All right. I would like to also recognize the presence of the keynote speaker, in person of Professor Savio Jide Kufoniyi. Thank you very much, sir, for what we are expecting to hear from you, sir. Also like to recognize one of our guest speaker, person of Edmond Obilo, also the chief host, person of Savio W.A. Lamidi, the host, person of Savio Peter Jaola, and then also I know there's a co-host, the Southwest chair, in person of Savio Obasanjo. All right, on behalf of YSN Nigeria, I bring the goodwill message to every one of us present here. We know, of course, that there is no meaningful development without the input of surveyors or without the input of geospatial information. And these are relevant for everything we're facing now. And I'm sure that our keynote speaker and the guest speaker and even every one of us here are going to learn from each other, of course, but we are looking forward to learning from both the guest speaker and then the keynote speaker. And then, of course, on behalf of the national chair, I bring a goodwill message to Oyo State that you are doing well. Thank you very much for bringing up this very beautiful team, which is Beyond Boundaries, Geospatial Solution for Global Challenges. And then, of course, we hope that henceforth is going to continue to be better and greater. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your goodwill message. Well received. So right about now, I'm going to be bringing up for the YSN Southwest, representing no other person than Savio Adeoye Olukayode for his goodwill message. Just put your hands together for him as he gives us his goodwill message. Thank you.
Ajíṣebí Ọ̀yọ́ láàrí, Ọ̀yọ́ ìṣebí ẹgbẹ́ bàbá ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan. Standing on the existing protocol, I want to bring greetings from the Southwest. All of us young surveyors in the Southwest, we congratulate Oyo State for doing this, and this is the first of its kind in Oyo State. Can we appreciate Oyo State for doing this at this time? So today we are looking at Beyond Boundaries, which is very, very important to us as a surveyor. And we are looking at driving a solution, having a solution to most of the problem we have using geospatial. And all of us know in the whole world now, what is taking over the whole world, since technology is not on a point, it's moving. So we also here in Nigeria and in Oyo State, we can start with that. And that is why we are considering the same topic, geospatial solution. It goes beyond that. And I want to encourage us also at the same time, let's open our heart to learn. Survey has moved from the analog way we start. Because I remember that I used Theodolite T2 in survey school. So if surveying has moved beyond that, and we are driving the solution with technology, it is very important that we prepare our hearts to embrace technology to get a better solution and make our nation a better place to stay. Thank you very much. On behalf of Southwest, you are welcome.
Please put your hands together for Surveyor Adeoye Olukayode. Thank you very much. In the spirit of recognition, I want to recognize the YSN Osun State Vice Chairman is representing the Osun State YSN, Surveyor Tomi Babalola. Please just wave your hand if you are here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I also have to recognize Honorable Surveyor Dele Adeola Isheyin Tesiwaju. Please, where are you, sir? Thank you so much, sir. Give him one bound, please. Give him one bound. Thank you. They will tell you how much it is. Please, sir, you can help me tell him. Thank you, sir. Okay, so thank you very much. So, also in the spirit of goodwill messages, please keep your message short and brief, 1 minute maximum, so that we can have more time to do other things here. So I'm going to be bringing up Honorable Shola Owolabi, a member of Representative Ibadan Northeast 2 constituency. Please put your hands together for him. Please put your hands together for him as he gives us his goodwill message this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. And I want to say good morning to our fathers, our mentors, our leaders that are here. I want to appreciate the network for bringing this good congregation together. It's a mindset of professionals, and I'm equally happy to be here. In order not to take much of our time, beyond boundaries, we are not only a learner in surveying, we are born into surveying. Some of us were born when our fathers were surveyors. So, surveyors are boundary makers. So we should know we are supposed to go beyond boundaries. There are boundaries set in ancient days by different kinds of methods of surveying, triangulation, and many other methods. But as the initial speakers told us, we should open our minds to learning every day. And we should know that we are the force that drives our generation. We are the force that drives our world. So we should know we are going beyond boundaries so that we can make this world a better place and a safer place for all of us to stay. Thank you very much.
Please let's put our hands together for the Honorable himself, Honorable Shola Owolabi, a member of the Rep Ibadan Northeast Constituency 2. Thank you very much, sir. So right about now, so as our guests come in, and if we have that space for time, they will still give their goodwill message. We are going to the main meal, the main dish of the day. We are going to the main. Are you ready for that, please? I hope you came with your jotters and everything. So, okay. We are also going to have goodwill message from Honorable Dele Adeola also. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Isheyin Tesiwaju. Please put your hands together for him. He's a surveyor. Thank you, sir.
Once again, good morning, everybody. And I want to specifically greet my boss, my father, in person of Professor Kufoni. I recognize you, sir. And I recognize all the board of fellows, and all surveyors present here, the chairman NIS, and the chairman of this young surveyors network. I'm equally very happy to be here today. And I want to give you assurance that when we're talking about beyond the boundaries, as I was sitting down there, I was looking at it. Can we really go beyond the boundary without legislative input? As a honorable member, as a surveyor, now I want to just oppose the two together. Yeah, we want to go beyond the boundary, now providing geospatial solution for global challenges. Yeah, if you look at it presently today, Nigeria is a developing country. That's where we need the impact of geospatial experts, really, for now. In other advanced countries, gone are the days when you say a medical doctor is earning better. Today, a data analyst will get 5 digits in a month in dollars because it's providing solutions, both in medical and every area. And that is why we have to talk about moving or going beyond the boundaries. But this cannot be done without collaboration with the government, without input of all the arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And that is reason why when we are talking about going beyond the boundary in terms of a professional angle of view or technological angle of view, we have to look at the bureaucracy and the governmental aspect of it and bring it together so that in the process of finding solutions, we will not be lagging behind in anyone. I wish every one of us a very good listening and a productive Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your goodwill message. So the next goodwill message we are going to be having is from Sovio Olatunde Fagbamigbe, FNIS. Is in the house, sir? Okay. It's not here yet. So thank you, sir. So I want to recognize Sovio Bakari from the Office of the Sovio General. Please, where are you, sir? Please. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome, sir. So now we are going to be going to the introduction and citation of our keynote speaker. So this is where we have been, this is what we have been preparing for. So I'm going to invite upstage to introduce and give a citation for the keynote speaker, Sovio Soji Babatunde, the General Secretary, NIS, Oyo State. Please put your hands together for him as he comes to do that. Thank you very much, sir.
I want to seek the indulgence of Professor Olajide Kufoniyi to remain standing while I read the citation. Greetings to all dignitaries here present, members, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, fellows here present, and all our invited guests. This is the citation of Professor Olajide Kufoniyi. Professor Jide Kufoniyi is a professor of geoinformatics and a pioneer immediate past head of Department of Surveying and Geoinformatics, Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. He is the immediate past president of the African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment, AARSE. He has PhD in geoinformatics in 1995 from Wageningen University and Research Center, the Netherlands, in affiliation with the International Institute for Aerospace Survey and Earth Science, ITC, now Faculty of Geoinformatics Science and Earth Observation, University of Twente, Eschent, the Netherlands. MSc with distinction in photogrammetry in 1989 from ITC, PhD with distinction in photogrammetry 1987 from ITC, PhD in surveying 1982 from University of Lagos, Nigeria, and also BSc Hons in geography from University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. He was rector of the Federal School of Surveying, Oyo, Nigeria, from February 1998 to August 2000. and Executive Director of the Regional Center for Training in Aerospace Survey, RECTAS, now called African Regional Institute for Geospatial Information Science and Technology, AFRIGIST, Obafemi Awolowo University Campus, Ile-Ife, Nigeria, from September 2000 to August 2008. Professor Kufoniyi is an advisory board member of the UNGGIM Academic Network and member of the International Policy Advisory Committee, IPAC, of the International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing, ISPRS. He is a member of the IEEE, Geosciences and Remote Sensing Society, GRSS, a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, NIS, fellow, Geoinformatics Society of Nigeria, GeoSyn, Nigerian fellow, Nigerian Cartographic Association, NCA, and a registered surveyor. He served as a member of the Cadastral Subcommittee, Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reform, Nigeria, May 2009 to December 2015. Member of the implementation team of the Phase 1 National Geospatial Data Infrastructure, NGDI, pilot project, August to December 2009, to 2011, and member expert working group on ECOWAS Geospatial Data Infrastructure Policy Development and Implementation 2014 to 2020. He also has served as a regional representative for Africa on the ISPRS Council from July 2008 to 2010, Vice President ISPRS Technical Commission, Commission 6 on Education and Awareness 2008 to 2012, Chairman ISPRS Technical Committee, Commission 7, Working Group 7, Innovation Problem Solving Methodologies for Less Developed Countries, July 2004 to 2008. Member ICA/CECA, Spatial Data Infrastructure GSDI Association, 2004 to 2009. Member Steering Committee on Africa Geodetic Reference Frame, AFREF, UN Economic Commission for Africa, from October 2004 to 2008. African Board Member, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on the application of GIS in agricultural production in Sub-Saharan Africa from August 2008 to March 2009. And member, Committee on National Geoinformation Policy for Nigeria, National Space Research and Development Agency, NASDA, Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, Abuja, Nigeria, from November 2002 to March 2003. He has published over 110 publications, successfully supervised 11 PhD and 13 MSc candidates, apart from many BSc dissertations. In recognition of his professional contributions, Professor Kufoniyi received the International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing, ISPRS, Samuel Gamble Award for significant contribution to professional development of photogrammetry, remote sensing, and spatial information sciences at national and international level in 2008, and a special recognition of positive contributions to geoinformation activities in Africa by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, in May 2009. He also received many awards at the national level, including Presidential Award of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, NIS, in 2009, Merit Award, Baptist Boys High School, Abeokuta Old Boys Association, in 2012, an Honorary Fellowship Award, Federal School of Surveying, Oyo, in December 2019. Please join me in welcoming the keynote address giver, Professor Olajide Kufoniyi, FNI.
I don't have to. I'll go there. I don't have to go up there because I'm going to look at the screen. Yeah, I hope those of us here will be able, no, I don't need anything, will be able to see. We are talking on Beyond Boundaries, Geospatial Solutions for Global Challenges, and we are harvesting ideas. I really want to mention the fact that Young Saviors Network happened to be one of the NIS groups, subgroups that I always feel very, very reluctant to disappoint. That is, unless it is so much impossible, I usually don't turn down, I don't refuse the invitation of YSN. I am supposed to be somewhere else this week to continue a workshop on the development of land accounts and land use and land classification scheme for the country. We started it sometimes in April, first week of April, second week of April, and they were fixing this week to continue and finalize it. And I said, no, it's impossible because I have to honor the Young Saviors Network. So I thank you very much for what you are doing, and I really hope and wish that you will continue to move with time. Technology improves every day. I finished my MSc in 1989 and my PhD in 1995. If I had just been contented with that, definitely IECA will never remember me. African Union Commission will never remember me. ISPRS will never remember me. So we have to move with time. And I'm very, very happy that we are all doing that. So some of the presentations that we are going to have here is actually to kind of give us, to motivate us to ensure that we look beyond now. And I'm happy for what has been said earlier. And before I forget, and this is my weakest point, I am very weak at, what do we call that thing when we start? Protocol. I'm very, very weak at that. So pardon me, Chairman of the day, Prof. Other distinguished members of the high table, the Young Saviors Network, NIS, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I'm very sorry about that. It's not only because I worked for 8 years in Rectors, which is a United Nations organization, but it has been my, which I don't know how we change that to actually recognize protocol and do that. I always just go straight to what I want to talk about. Let's see the title again, because I modified it to tell you why. Now, that is the Beyond Boundaries Geospatial Solution for Global Development Challenges. I inserted the word development because I believe we are actually focusing on the global challenges to the national and global development. So that's why I modified that title. And like I said, I'm just going to go through and to kind of give us some impetus, something to think about in whatever we do now. How do we contribute to limiting or eliminating these challenges? How do we contribute to sustainable development? So go to the outline. It's a pity, I think it's because of the distance, they are not able to show the full screen. So because it's not activated as a PowerPoint now. So, and I hope you can see the back. So part of introduction, then I will look at sustainable development and the role of geospatial technologies, and then the challenges that geospatial technology itself is facing. Modern trends that we must take note of in order for us to provide solutions to the global challenges, and then some requirements in implementing this. then some conclusion and recommendations. So next slide, please. Now, as a form of introduction, we know that national and global development challenges are very enormous. I'll give one or two examples. In Nigeria, less than 3% of the land is registered. And this is posing negative impact on the ease of doing business. Nigeria was 179th out of 185 in 2018 on the ease of doing business. That is, we are so far below. Now, second was Rwanda, Ghana 119th, Cameroon 176th, and Togo 182nd, to mention a few. This was 2018, but then in 2020, the World Bank's Doing Business Index gave Nigeria 131st position out of 190 countries, which means we moved 15 places from 146th in 2018. And one of the factors that led to this improvement is that registering property improved due to the implementation of GIS for land administration. I will still talk a little bit more about that when we move on. Next slide, please. So, again, we have the problem of rapid population growth and urbanization. The Sub-Saharan Africa accounts for 14% of the world population in 2021. So with an annual growth rate of 2.65%. And this is expected to be about 20.2% by the year 2050. Again, 50% of the population, of world's population, are residing in cities. And this is projected that by 2050, an additional 22.9 billion people will move to cities. We can go to those links to see more. So about 90% of this growth will be in African and Asian countries. These are the two continents that are that are actually competing for the first position in underdevelopment. So rapid population growth has put much pressure on existing infrastructure, including the waste management systems, energy systems, land and environmental resources, fresh water, transportation systems, urban facilities, and housing. So all these we need to work on. Now, unfortunately, unless you project it, we will not see what this one is portraying. If you are able to see it, that first one is Nigeria. The second one on the right, second column is Kenya, and then South Africa and Ghana. Now, the urban is in green. The population, urban population is in green, and the other color, what is that color now? Purple is the rural. So if you look at Nigeria, you will see that the urban population kept increasing since 1960, 1970, up to 2017, it was already 50%. If you look at South Africa, they already, since 1960, they had a lot of, about 48% urban. And then gradually, you find out that the urban population has increased and the rural population is reducing. Similarly, Kenya, Ghana. So which means that we need to do a lot of infrastructure development and a lot of things that we have to put in place to ensure that we work towards how this urban population will be sustained. Next slide. So now, what the sustainable development itself, so that we look at what is the role of our own role in ensuring that we attain this. Now, you can reduce so that people can see the slide. Now, the sustainable development has been defined by the Brundtland Commission in 1987 as the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So you have land to build house now, but think of those coming in 200 years' time. You have farmland and you are clearing it. Think of those coming 200 years, they will need to eat too. So these are sustainable development. As we do things to develop, we must also ensure that we think of the generation to come so that they will also be able to live and live very well. Next slide. So the global efforts have been made in this respect and are continually being made to ensure the attainment of sustainable development in all parts of the world by putting in place measures and activities that will adequately address various challenges, including rapid growth in human population, climate change, natural and man-made disasters, peace and human security, environmental degradation, poverty, and health issues. So, and the sustainability that we talk about must be addressed on all its 4 pillars: human sustainability, environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, and social sustainability. The human sustainability will be limited if man begins to marry man. So that's just as a joke. I will be putting some jara like that once in a while. You know, God didn't make us. God wanted us to continue to ensure that we have men and we have women. But when you now have man marrying man, what's going to happen? You know, and already you have in Nigeria. Don't say it will not come in Nigeria. We have a lot of men in Nigeria putting their ring on. You have a lot of Nigerians, men, now, in order to ensure that we have sustainable development at every level, the United Nations General Assembly in 2015 adopted the Global Agenda for Sustainable Development, which are expected to be achieved by the year 2030. This is 2024, 6 years' time. That program, which we normally call Sustainable Development Goals, has 17 goals, 169 targets, and 230 indicators. We have to ensure that we contribute our quota to make sure that at least we attain some of this, if not all. We cannot attain all. Next slide. Similarly, the African Union Commission, Agenda 2063, which we normally call the Africa We Want, was adopted in January 2015 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, by the 24th African Union Assembly of Heads of State and Government. This program has 7 aspirations, 20 goals, and 39 priority areas that are set for the first 10 years of implementation, 2013 to last year, 2023. How far did we go? And a fundamental contribution of member states towards achieving the agenda is that every member state in Africa shall adopt and integrate the Agenda 2063 and the associated 10-year implementation plans as the basis for developing their national visions and plans. That is the expectation. And that is how we could have met the Sustainable Development Goals. It therefore means that adequate and reliable Earth observation and geospatial information are a sine qua non for the attainment of the development goals. This has been proved, not just by Kufoni, by the United Nations, by the Global Earth Observation Group. So, and that it's been stated that Earth observation and geospatial technologies will continue to play a significant role in the attainment of 16 of the UN SDG goals, 71 of the 169 targets, and 29 of the 2030 indicators, of the 230 indicators of UN Agenda 2030 on Sustainable Development, as well as 16 of the 20 goals of the AU Agenda 2063. I'll show that in the table next. Indeed, it has been estimated that more than 80% of all human decisions involve the where question. Whatever we do, whatever happens, happens somewhere. Therefore, we always need to answer the special question, where in every development activities. And I'm happy that, like Professor said, like the honorable members mentioned, it's something that we cannot do anything about it. It's God that created it. God created the earth, created world, put things in places. It's obvious, excellent, by excellence. That's God. So, and don't say that it is because God is the very first surveyor that made himself even. So later you can look at this table. You see the goals. They are SDG goals. You see the targets and the indicators that Earth observation and geospatial information will need to play significant role before we can attain them. So next slide. So you look at that later at your own DC. But then we do have some challenges in geospatial technology, in the implementation and the use of geospatial technology. One is the reluctance to change. And I thank God when Surveyor Owolabi, the Honorable Owolabi was mentioned, I think I got the name correctly, and the Surveyor Honorable too, when we were talking about what we were doing in the past and things like that. I think it's the surveyor that mentioned the fact that he used T2, not T2, theodolite of the past, you know, so that he used it. Now, I do remember that when people were talking about handheld GPS, you cannot use that, you cannot use that. And I remember talking to the students at Unilag then, I think it was 1996, thereabout, that look, don't underestimate anything. That so-called handheld GPS will be very, very accurate in the very near future. That you will even have it on your phone as accurate as you want. So that is how technology is going. So don't look at how big the equipment is. Check the accuracy. And you will then decide whether it's something you can use or not. So we have to do away with reluctance to change. And I'm happy that we are doing that now in surveying. I do remember that when we started AFREF, that's the Continuously Operating Reference Station, we installed the first one in Rectors, in Afrigis. Now we have a lot in Nigeria. We have private practicing surveyors, even establishing some. At that beginning, there were lots of queries, a lot of questions. No, we cannot use this. No, it's not easy. You know, again, there's still a question about space-based systematic land titling and registration. We are going to get there, that you will not need to go to the field to do your cadastral survey. You will get there when you can do everything, you see it from the space, and you delineate, and it will be very, very accurate. We are getting there already. So we have to have that at our hearts, that things will continue to change. And if we don't move with time, we will be left behind. Again, we have infrastructure deficit, especially power and internet. Low internet bandwidth for downloading free and open source data. We have there now Copernicus and other where you can download high resolution data, satellite images. But the bandwidth is very low. Don't say Nigeria, that's something I don't like. They will say, hey, go to Ghana, there, go to... No, it's not true. It's not only, Nigeria is also doing well. We were in Egypt in 2008. In 2018, for the African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment, either 2016 or 2018, the conference. And there was a workshop, a training. And they were going to use cloud storage and things like that. The computation, the classification, georeferencing was to be done online, you know. The system, the software, everything was in the cloud. So they say, no, you don't need more than your system. Sit behind it. Just click what you need. It will take the satellite images for you. It will check the software that you are going to use. It will do what you only need to provide are the ground control points, and the classification will be done. Now we start there. Unfortunately, I couldn't sit with any because I was president then. I had to be going from point to point to make sure that things are going well. But I stayed a little bit curious whether the internet in Egypt was a lot better than the internet in Nigeria. And the thing was dancing. It was dancing. It was dancing. It was dancing. It was dancing. And I smiled and I tapped the guy on the back. Things that we need in Africa includes great internet connectivity. That's the problem you're having. So I now advise that, okay, what you should do, give a break of 20 minutes for tea break. Try to download the software and sample data sets and use it to show to people how they can do it, maybe in the night when internet may be less busy. So that's a problem we have everywhere. You are talking in Addis one day. I spoke about, it was a plenary paper presentation. Committee on Peaceful United Nations Global Geospatial Information Management in Africa. And I was talking about how what we should do to solve the issue of power in Africa. So I cited a professor in OAU whose inaugural lecture was on solar panel. So and I told them that, look, if you have so much size of solar panels and batteries, and you put them somewhere in Tunisia, that it will serve the entire African country. I just use Tunisia just as an example. And then as soon as I sat down and it was questioned, the representative of Tunisia stood up and said, no, why should you put that in Tunisia? I said, no, sir, I'm not putting it in Tunisia. So that generated interest at the plenary. So when we now broke down into working groups, geoinformation, ICT, and so on, in our own section, as we were talking, then in Olo, there was power failure. That's also in Addis, so not Nigeria. There was power failure. So everybody now shouted, solar panel, solar power, that kind of thing. It is a problem which we must solve, So, and I'm happy that governments at various levels are working towards that, not only for road construction, but also actually how do we have sound and stable electricity supply. Now that they have deregulated and decentralized electricity power generation, so states can now do their own. So we are looking forward to Oyo State actually doing this as soon as possible. Cloud coverage, which is limiting optical images, we need to do something about that. What do? We have to encourage the use of radar. So which means that because we are in equatorial belt, so we don't have any choice, so we have to now work towards radar. A lot of research, at least a PhD candidate of mine has worked on that, how you can actually extract road infrastructure from radar images, and how we should be using unmanned area system where possible to actually go beyond that. So now let's go into the nitty-gritty, the modern trends and technologies for geospatial information science and technology. Concerted efforts are actually required to ensure that geospatial technology will be ready, will be in a state that we can use it to solve global development. But rapid advances in space and geospatial technologies culminating in innovation systems can actually enhance efficient delivery of geospatial services. And we do have now WebGIS, cloud computing, volunteer geographic information, unmanned area system, open source data and software, smartphones, and other mobile technologies. The next slide. Internet of Things, we're already using them. Internet connection via the Internet of computing devices that are embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. Digital twin, we should also open our mind and see how does it work, how do we use it in our field, in our discipline. Machine learning and digital and deep learning. Somebody was giving me the experience in the UK where he set up his GPS, global navigation satellite system without anybody standing with it, doing all the measurements and things like that. Already artificial intelligence, machine learning, already been implemented in it. So cloud computing, which I gave an example of that, the problem is having good internet facilities. Next slide. Big data analytics. This is where we're going to be having a lot of data sets from various sources, and we should be able to actually analyze and take out what we need, the information we need from these data sets. So this is something that is coming on, and you will see that in the past you will say do 10 observations, 20 observations. When you have continuously operating reference stations that is downloading and tracking data every time, and later you might have even up to 20, 2,500 that are very close to you, which you can see. You know, at the initial stage, when AFREF started, the idea was to have one with a radius of at least 1,000 kilometers. That was that time, in 2006. Thinking that African countries would not be able to go far and do that. Eventually, it became that at least one in every country. Now, the effort is to ensure that we have it within a radius of 50 kilometers. That's what we're working towards. And this will increase to the extent that you can have 10 kilometers and so on. But please, be mindful when I'm going something that may be relevant because I may not have opportunity of talking about it. If you are installed, there is one in FSS now. Nobody should think of going and put another one in FSS. You'll be wasting money and effort. So there must be a network analysis of where are the ones that are there now. Where are the gaps? That is when we can put. There is no sense having two states, one on the other side of the boundary. And within the state itself, the next one is 100 kilometers away, 200 kilometers away. It does not make sense. So we have to ensure that we do this with good analysis and the network. The Office of Surveyor General of the Federation, I think they are working towards that in collaboration with the State Surveyors General to ensure that we have a network, know what is existing, and then know where to put which one now. Blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, that's the key word now. Everybody is talking about it. So it's going to influence our decision. It's going to help. And in fact, it can help to the extent that you might still even see the face of Kufoni in maybe 100 years' time when I've gone, talking, whereas he's already there with God. On the right side, yes, on the right side of God. So, and yet, you see the face of Kufoni talking. That's artificial intelligence, and we will have it. We are getting there. You will not have to go to the field yourself. So if you limit yourself to your knowledge of today, you will be found wanting in the very near future. Virtual reality, augmented reality, these are also very, very important for us to take into consideration. Volunteer geographic information, or also called crowdsourced geographic information. For example, Google Map, Google Earth, OpenStreetMap, and so on. In 2000 and some 10 years ago, in Nairobi, when we were having the UNGGIM meeting, the decision was taken that all the national mapping agencies should look into how they can utilize open source data, the volunteer geographic information, to update their maps on regular basis. So what you need to do is to check the accuracy of what you have. Then it will limit the amount of field work that you will do when you do that. Now, it is not that Google Map is very correct. If you want to know, whenever you are traveling, put it on and start traveling. It will tell you to turn right in a place. Turn right, turn right, turn right, turn right. Whereas that right, if you turn into it, police will stop you. You are facing traffic. Because the semantic information is still very limited. And that's where we come in as surveyors. You know, it's open source. We can assist to improve the quality of this volunteer geographic information. And so that is why we are encouraging the offices of Surveyor General to ensure that they look into it, and actually they can create a section, their mapping session, to see how they can update this. And people can then use it on a regular basis. Building information modeling is also another thing that we must recognize and take into consideration. That's the process for creating and managing information on the construction project across the project life cycle, from the beginning to the end, and then you have it. And so every minute detail in the model, and you can use it to now continue to. So the remaining 4, I'm going to deal a little bit more into that. 3D GIS stroke modeling, geospatial data infrastructure, unmanned area system, laser, and LiDAR. So next slide. Now, I need to clarify the difference. Some people I know that many of us here know these details and so on. We have geographic information system, GIS, and we have spatial data infrastructure. There are many states that are establishing state GIS, state GIS, state GIS. In some cases, what they meant was to actually implement spatial data infrastructure at the state level. But they just thought GIS and GIS. So GIS is compulsory, but there's a difference between the two. By definition, the GIS is an integrated computerized system for capturing, storing, checking, integrating, manipulating, analyzing, and displaying information which are spatially referenced to the Earth. And it is normally considered to involve a spatially referenced computer database and the appropriate application software. On the other hand, spatial data infrastructure is the technology, policies, standards, and human resources that are necessary to acquire, process, store, distribute, and improve utilization of geospatial data. This definition is per the Federal USA Executive Order 12906. Next slide. Now, a more comprehensive definition of SDI is from Groot and McLaughlin, 2000. Spatial data infrastructure or geospatial data infrastructure, the two you can use interchangeably. It encompasses the networked geospatial databases. Each of these geospatial databases can be in a GIS and managed by the GIS on its own. And data handling facilities, the complex of institutional, organizational, technological, human, and economic resources, which interact with one another and underpin the design, implementation, and maintenance of mechanisms that will facilitate the sharing, access to, and responsible use of geospatial data at an affordable cost for any application. Next slide. Now, if you look at the components, for GIS, the 5 components are the hardware, for data input, for computer, for the management, for data output, and so on. The software to do all these processes, data capturing, data storage, data manipulation, and presentation. The spatial database itself, the procedures, and the human expertise. These are the components of the GIS. And I hope you do know that the spatial database will be peculiar to the application at hand. If it's for cadastral, the content of the spatial database will be cadastral database information. And then in that situation, you often call it land information system, and so on. So, on the other hand, spatial data infrastructure will have the geospatial data sets as component, geospatial standards, metadata, clearinghouse, policy, and legal framework. I will deal a little bit into it. Now, this figure is showing you the in graphic form, the components. On the left, you have the GIS. And you can have, yes, good. You can have the data acquisition system, because GIS has 3 subsystems. Data acquisition subsystem, which can include digital and digital land and hydrographic surveying, analytical and digital photogrammetry, remote sensing, map digitizing, scanning, and non-spatial attribute data entry. These are the various data acquisition subsystems of a GIS. You can pick any of them that will give you the type of data you need to get your spatial database. Then you have the database management subsystem, which is actually where you have the database itself. Then you have the information presentation subsystem, either to give it out as hard copy map, screen display, export data to other databases, reports, or statistical data. That's GIS. On the other hand, for the SDI, you have this. We will go into more details of this. You can note it. I will show you. We will look at these components of SDI when we get to the session on SDI. Next slide. So now let's look a little bit about 3D GIS. You know, as surveyors, we were used to working on 2D. So that's why I'm showing this first. We started with 2D. That's why our pillars, we have different pillars. We have the pillars that have the X and Y coordinates. And then you have the benchmarks that give you the height. The two, they are usually not coterminous, not co-located in many cases. So you have X and Y differently, you have the heights separately. Even the two of them, we used to have two different data. Mean sea level for height and MENA for X and Y initially. So it's now that we are integrating. So we were used to X and Y. Our survey plan are still X and Y, two-dimensional. Whereas we also have what we call 2.5D. That's surface representation. For 2.5D, every point I will have S, Y, and Z. But it is not allowed in 2.5D for 2 points I and J to have their planimetric coordinates, S and Y, being equal, but the Z being different. It's not allowed. So in 2.5D, you know, this is a one-story building or two-story. At least it's not, even for a bungalow. The footprint, you have even where I'm standing, even for this, let me use this as an example. If you are representing this in a map in 2.5D, it's either you take this point or you take this point. So you have to project everything to the surface level, all right? So, but every point will have X, Y, and Z. But it's not allowed for a point, 2 points, to have the same X and Y, but having different Z. So which means that you can only have surface representation. So that is 2.5D. That's what we were able to do again. But now we must work towards 3D. If you want to contribute to finding solution to the global challenges, every point we have X, Y, and Z. And 2 points with the same X and Y can have different Z. Which means that this building, this particular AC, can be represented as it is. X, Y, and Z for this point, X, Y, and Z for this point, for that point, and for that point. So you have it fully as a solid object in the database. So that is where we are now. And so we must ensure that our contribution is getting to that. In the first one, topology is planar. You can only talk about what is on the left, what is on the right. This state is adjacent to the next state. This local government is adjacent to that local government. This cadastral parcel is adjacent to the next cadastral parcel. You cannot talk about what is below that parcel. No. You cannot talk about what is above. 2.5D, you still cannot talk about what is above and below. It's only that you will know that one place is higher than the other when you want to construct a water pipeline and so on. But in the 3D, you can do that. So that is where we are, and that's what we must do. Next slide. So we need to build databases. When we do databases now, let us work towards 3D. So we have a 3D database, full, where the objects are connected to each other by object-oriented logic. And a special case of photogrammetric workflow is to produce 3D geospatial data instead of the usual 2D. That's where photogrammetry is in now. However, not every photogrammetry system meets this requirement. Usually, the only requirement is to produce the 3D model as a unique object, and the images are rendered on this model to produce a photorealistic 3D model. So they put it on it, they overlay, and things like that. So the generated models can then be used on different areas. A typical example is Google Earth, where users can produce 3D models using the tools offered by Google. The fact is that when you want to do utilities in the house, electricity, the distribution, and so on, you have to know when there's a fault, on which floor of the building is that fault coming from, is being reported, so that you can go there immediately and you can pass it, you can check how the lines go from floor to floor. So, and then if there's a weakness, you can even then monitor the subsistence level, not only at the bottom level, but also at the top level. So we need the 3D. This is an example of a city model in Google Earth environment. Next slide. So some typical areas of using the 3D models, urban planning, they need it, it's essential. Smart city, and so on. So unless you have 3D, you cannot have smart city. Architecture is also essential. Archaeology, civil engineering, industrial design and reverse engineering. Because with civil engineering, you have to know what type of soil is below the surface when you are constructing, so that you know the number, the type of product you will use to fill that place. It may be different from where you are coming from, and things like that. This is another simplified 3D models of buildings and city districts. What you have on the top right is what you want to have now. You want to be able to see the entire building and see every floor. And that is why the Google has actually contracted a survey firm in Nigeria, in Lagos, to carry out horizontal survey, moving with vehicle, and then doing the photography of the building sites. You know, what you see from the space is the top, isn't it? But they want to also have the terrestrial information to see the side view. So they have paid a surveying firm based in Lagos to do that. He has not paid me to advertise for himself, so I will not mention the name. So you see, that is the thing. If that guy had been very okay that, look, the money coming to me from cadastral survey every month is enough for me, Google will never approach such a person, you know. So move with the time, you know. Next slide. Now, GDI, this is really very germane to this thing. Geospatial data infrastructure, we must ensure that it is implemented. When we have it, then we can now think of contributing to sustainable development at every level. Critical role of SDI in development information requirements. I will show some slides so that we see it. If you are talking about agriculture and food security, to actually have that, we need to know the land cover. We need to have information about the land cover so that we can know where do we put, if there is cocoa farm there already, but if there is a virgin land where we can actually plant maize and things like that, we can have it. The soil types, we need to have information on it so that we can know what type of crop can grow on that soil. Topography, you need it because there is no point in you finishing and making your ridges and you find out that the water will just be flowing down and then wasting your distance. You need to have information about the topography so that you can know how you arrange, whether you are going to harvest water that is draining, what to do, and things like that. Hydrography, we need it in case you want to do irrigation farming. Where can you get water nearby, river nearby, and how low is the water table if you want to do ground this thing there. Rainfall regime, so that you can now predict discover the time that you want to actually farm. Demographics, the people, when you grow things, you want to sell it to people. Where are they? So that you know how to do that. Infrastructure, which roads will lead to those places? How do they get their products to the farm? So if you are within the need to actually create a new road, you then know from that. Suitability maps, what can you grow where? Yield statistics and prices. You will see that a lot of these are what we can produce as geospatial people. So we need to actually work hard in doing this. Next slide. Even in education planning, you need to know where are the current schools. So if you want to put additional schools, where are the current ones? And what is the population of the district? Are children having to walk more than the number of kilometers recommended by United Nations? So you need demographics, you need infrastructure. The roads, the electricity distribution that is available, whether you will now have to ask the state government to actually, again, extend electricity to the place, and how much it will cost without them necessarily just going to the field to do that. There must be the information available already. Utilities, similarly. Next slide. Transportation planning. You need the information on the existing roads, railways, navigable water systems, air links. The settlements, where are they? The demographics, that's the population. Industrial and socioeconomic establishments, where are they located? I doubt it if many of these companies have a map, a database showing the location of their branches in every state, vis-a-vis the population of the state and the area. Industrial and socioeconomic establishments, topography, hydrography, traffic flows. We need all this. Next slide. Mining and mineral development, you need information on the land cover, the soil chemistry, the topography, rock formations and physical properties, human settlements. Next slide. Water supply, ditto, well, you need information on the water bodies that are existing, the rivers and the streams, so that you can know how to lay your pipes, where to and from where. Aquifers and groundwater, so that you can, you know what we do? Every house will be having borehole. I have in my house, all my neighbors have. We are diminishing underground water system. And so we are also contributing to the negative effect of climate change. Topography is also essential, land cover and soil types. Next slide. Health planning. You want to know where are the hospitals, where are they located, how far from the people are these hospitals. Settlements and demographics to link the two together. Disease vectors, in case there is COVID, in case there is any virus, how far is it going? And if it is waterborne, how far? Where are the settlements that will be affected? Transport infrastructure, how do they get to the hospital in case they want to go to the hospital? Next slide. Housing development, the same. If you want to do that, demographics, population, so that if you want to create a low density, a low cost scheme, you have to know vis-a-vis demographics. The roads and utilities, what are the ones that are existing? So if you want to create new ones, then you will see where and why. The topography, the building materials, where can you get them from? So unless you have this information already, you will not have. Security and emergency planning, crime statistics, the location specific, environmental conditions and changes, so that for emergency planning, demographics and threats, hazards, where are the locations of the hospitals, police, safety installations, and so on, transport infrastructure, and even for security, where are those things? In 2016, I think it was in Makerere University, we were having our conference, African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment. And a Nigerian, is a professor from UI, now came to call me, Prof, come and see. Says, no, it was not 2016. The year the Boko Haram people were kidnapped, I think 2014. Yes, I think it was 2014. So it was 2014. It was the year the Boko Haram issue happened. The digital globe had a stand So they were showing people their products. In one of their products, they showed the image covering that area. We showing the Boko Haram girls and their kidnappers moving in this. So, Prof, come and see Boko Haram girls, come and see the girls, come and see the Chibok girls. Chibok girls, not Boko Haram girls. Chibok girls, come and see Chibok girls, come and see Chibok girls. I said, sorry, I cannot leave, you know. This is I'm president and I'm chairing what I'm doing. But please, after that, he told me, Digital Globe, that same period, that same year. So it is so easy to actually locate and know where these people are if you want to do what you need to do. The common feature of all the examples, location is common. Where are the input factors? Where are the population that will benefit or at risk? Where are the markets for the products? Where are the infrastructure elements, utilities, etc.? How do we move products from source to destination? What areas are suitable for specific activities? All these require location. And what is the major output of surveying and geoinformatics? Geospatial technology, location. So you see that's why we play the most significant role in the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Next slide. So, which means that geospatial data infrastructure is about integration of data for improved visualization, analysis, and decision-making, coordinated production and management of geospatial data, long-term use and reuse of geographic data, data accessibility and use mechanisms for citizens, maximization of investments in data, responding to complex community issues and geographies, cooperative governance, and place-based management. Next slide. It can be at any level. That is important to note. It is not just at the national level. You can have it at local and subnational level. A local government can actually implement a spatial data infrastructure for that local government. Even a ward can do that. There is also the national one at the country level, and that's the one we call National Geospatial Data Infrastructure in Nigeria. The state can have its own, or just state spatial data infrastructure. Lagos State, they formulated the policy years ago, but they really have not moved beyond that. Even the national one, you can also have it at national level. We call it National Geospatial Data Infrastructure. It started well, then it went down. It's only this year that they reactivated it, and we hope that something good will come out of it. We've held about 2-3 meetings already, and the engineer committee had been established to do that. Regional level, multinational, we can have it. There's the ECOWAS one that is also being developed. There is the African one, what we call African Spatial Data Infrastructure, that is being developed. There is the global one too. So now called Integrated Geospatial Information Framework. So at every level you can have it. The important thing is to have access, ready access to data sets that will be interoperable. Next slide. So it means that when you want to have a geospatial data infrastructure, the elements will include the organizations and individuals who generate or use data, technologies that will facilitate the acquisition, use, and transfer, geospatial data sets, both fundamental and thematic, geospatial data standards, metadata, which will enable coherent description, clearinghouse, and data catalog. Let me use the next figure to illustrate this. Next slide. Yes, it's a pity that it's not in slide mode, otherwise it could be flying in. You see, you have the fundamental data sets and thematic data sets. Those are the core of spatial data infrastructure. They are not necessarily resident in one single database. Let's get it right. Because they will be produced by different agencies. So the important thing will be to link them together. The fundamental data sets are those ones that are often used by many agencies. You remember our topographic maps. Different people go to get topographic map. It's a fundamental data set. You remember administrative map. Different people go from place to place to get it, map depot. These are fundamental data sets. Your coordinates, your pillars, your coordinates, okay, whether by cost station or by old triangulation and so on, is also part of fundamental data sets because many people will be using it and reusing it. So then you have some which we call thematic data set, like the farm products, like the soil type, and so on. They are also thematic data sets. So these are located in different organizations. But what is important is that for the fundamental and thematic data set, every data set must have what we call metadata. If you go to a library, where do you go? If you need a book and you enter a library for the first time, where do you go? You go to the shelf, bookshelf, and you search whether that book is there. It will tell you if it's available, it will say go to shelf number so, and you go there and you find the book. If it's already on loan, they will say it's already on loan and so on. That's the kind of thing we are talking about in metadata. It is the description of each of the data sets that you have. So when you see that metadata, if it is okay for you, if it will meet your application, then you now go deeper. How do I get it? On top of that, you have what we call the communications network. The three things that the communication network is guiding. You have, first of all, the clearinghouse services before communication network. You are not seeing it, which is providing discovery, access, and processing. It's helping you to discover what is available, how to have access to them, and what kind of processes are already supported. That's clearinghouse. So in order to do that, for people to do that, they need a communication network that will facilitate these things to be done. So communication network is another component. Now, embracing all that is standards. There must be standards for fundamental data set, thematic data set. You know your cadastral plan, that is standard, isn't it? It must be to so accuracy. Topographic map, 1 in 50,000, the accuracy, planimetry should be this and so on. These are kind of the standards for that, which must be generated and be provided for everyone. But not only that, the metadata must also be according to standard to encourage interoperability. And the clearinghouse, GeoPortal, must be according to standard, and communication network, whether it's going to be that it must be 560 megabytes bandwidth and things like that. We must be able to do that. Now, for all that, there must be a policy, what we call information policy. Without the policy, it will not be sustainable. We will entrench all those things in a policy, in the information policy. And that policy must be enacted to have a legal framework. All these are done by people and institutions. So you see that the geospatial data infrastructure is more elaborate than GIS. You need GIS to manage each of these fundamental data set or thematic data set. Each organization can implement GIS to do that. But then you now have the linkages among all those GIS to actually have what we call a geospatial data infrastructure. So if you are already knowledgeable in GIS, step forward and understand. I'm not asking you to step forward here, but step forward to understand how do you implement a geospatial data infrastructure. Some of us will soon retire now. We want people that we want to call immediately. Hey, call so person. Who can call so person? We want that. So please, I'm believing in the Youngs of Yours network, global, all over the world. I'm very happy every time I see on the platform, NASD, YSN, FCT, you say you are having this program, you are having that. Fantastic. And I'm always very happy about it. We didn't have such opportunity but you do. So seize on it and continue to actually fly and fly higher. So these are the components of GDI. Next slide. When I mention fundamental data sets, to make it clearer that it is not only us, surveyors, that are producing the fundamental data sets. And even if it is us, for surveyors, it is not only a single agency. 10 were defined in the policy, in the National Geospatial Data Infrastructure Policy for Nigeria. A state can define its own. A local government can define its own. You see, Africa has defined 10 also. The funniest thing is that for the African Geospatial Data Infrastructure, even though there are 10, only 8 are common. We did our own before the African Geospatial Data Infrastructure. So they have 10, but 2 of them are not part of our own. So when we are implementing the Geospatial Data Infrastructure in Nigeria, we must include those 2, because we are the ones that will provide the link to our NGDI portal, so that different countries and that African Geospatial Data can have access to it from ECOWAS, from this thing. So those 2 are geographic names and street addresses, which are not part of our own. But in our own that we have now, geodetic controls, number 1. Digital topographic maps. Start counting those ones that we produce as surveyors. Digital topographic maps, digital imagery and image maps, administrative boundaries, cadastral database at national and state level, transportation, both roads, inland waterways, railways, etc., hydrography, rivers, lakes, etc., land use, land cover, geological maps, and demographic data. Just quick one. How many are we producing in our discipline out of the 10? That we have mandate, be careful, those ones that we have mandate to produce. Geodetic control? Yes, okay, 1. Digital topographic map? Okay, 2. Digital imagery and image maps? Okay, I will come back to that. Administrative boundaries? Okay, I will also come back to that. Cadastral database? 3 are solid now, isn't it? Transportation, roads, inland waterways, railways? No. Hydrography? I will come back to that. Land use, land cover? Okay, we'll come back to that. Geological maps? No. Demographic data? Okay, at least we answered no to 2 or 3. Which means that other agencies are involved in the implementation of the fundamental data sets. But the reason I asked you that question is that we had a very heated argument in March. I think it was March or February when we had the workshop on NGDI. And we were talking about fundamental data set from each group. And you see, of course, OSGov. OSGov came very... and NASA said, digital imagery and image maps are from satellite images. And NASA said, they have mandate for satellite images in the country. So why are you saying you are the one that has the mandate to provide digital imagery and image maps? Yes, you can use it to prepare your topographic map. They are not arguing with you. But so we still don't know who we are going to mark and say, yes, this is the mandated agency to handle digital imagery and image maps, because I see that argument. No problem about administrative boundaries. That was a very heated argument. All of us, including me, I worked in boundary section before when I was in federal service, in our Office of Surveyor General of the Federation. We thought we were the one in charge of boundaries, international and interstate and so on. It was a surveyor from National Boundary Commission that stood up and said, no, the mandate is ours, National Boundary Commission. Then they looked at me, Professor Kufoni, the facilitator. What do you have to? I don't know what to say about this. I used to believe too that it is the Office of Surveyor General of the Federation. But from what you are saying now, it seems to me that OSGov is providing the technical aspect. While you are providing the listening, the guy later told me, no, that they now have enough surveyors to actually do the work. So, I now said, look, what we should do is slash it. OSGov/MBS. When the thing gets to the act, to the Federal Executive Council, let them decide there which of the two should be given the mandate. You see? So those are the challenges. And you said transportation, Rose. There is a Ministry of Transportation. And that is why Office of Surveyor General is interministerial. They post surveyors to all these agencies to do the work for them. That doesn't mean it is the Office of Surveyor General that is producing it. It's like administrative staff in every ministry. They post it from head of service. So that's the situation. So demographic data, there's no problem. So Population Commission is in charge. Geological Survey Agency is in charge of geological maps. Land use, land cover, we have a dilemma too. We still don't know who we are going to say, yes, you are in charge. Because OSGov said they've been producing it. What's the name of this organization in Federal Ministry of Environment? Said yes, they've also been producing it. NASA also said they are producing it because they are using satellite images. So we don't know how to handle those areas yet. At least me, I don't for now. So, but we have to sit down and also contribute. So what happens is that when you are discussing, please have a free mind, because this will be discussed at our conferences, NIS and so on. Have a very open mind. Don't think of the fact that, look, I'm a surveyor, I must protect the surveying, this thing and so on, it must be surveying. Look beyond and see how does it contribute to national development. Okay, so contribute your quota. And don't think that somebody is going to say you are stabbing surveying in the back. No. The technology has moved beyond that. I don't doubt it that the National Boundary Commission may now have a technical session. They didn't have it before, but now they are having it, and so they might be able to do the work on their own. Okay? So now, next slide. So this is an example of the system architecture for SDI. You have every organization, NASA having its own database, OSGov having its own, State Surveyor General having its own, everybody having their own, but they contribute the metadata to the clearinghouse. Only the metadata, not the data set. Data set stays with the mandated agency. The metadata is available there. It's like having a library, e-library. They can contribute the metadata, what they have, each library, what they have in their stock, so that when you Google, you now find out, when you search, we may not use Google, when you search, because we provide our own search mechanism. When you search, you know, okay, which book is available and in which library is it available. So that's what we normally have to do. Now, I think we finished with GDI. Next slide. Yeah, this slide is important. If you want to implement it, there are 4 main stages. There are 4 main stages. I think your book is actually 4 main stages. Step 1 is that we have to carry out the review of the current status. Who is tired? You, the laptop, or the projector? Or all? So you have to know the current status. So you do what user requirement survey and analysis. Maybe your laptop is tired. So you identify the gaps. So step 2, you develop the policy. So it's the policy that there was a policy we developed in 2003. So in February, we updated the policy and we call it NGDI Policy 2024. So the national development plan will be there. And the sustainable development goals will also have a role to play when you are doing that to ensure that, yes, what you are developing will be able to contribute to meeting SDG. Step 3, you now prepare a strategic plan, the roadmap for development. So you have the vision, the mission, and so on to ensure that what you need to do are done. And the step 4 is to now have the activities and the timeline for each activity. So whether it is at the state level, local government level, national level, please, you have to do that. If you are surveyors in local government area, please plead with your chairman. It is needed at local government level as well, not only in the state. The state Office of Surveyor General must ensure that they plead and ensure that your state implements a special data infrastructure. It is really very important. Many states are having state GIS. The GIS database has a particular application. For instance, you cannot have in the same database geology, population data, land use, land cover, transport, those things that are mentioned that are fundamental data sets. You cannot have it. So you can have a GIS in the state that is focused on some things. No problem. But the state still needs to have a special data infrastructure at the state level as well as at the national level. Next slide. We will almost finish. Only 2 more key things. Unmanned area vehicle and system. We must also buy into it fully as surveying and geoinformatics people. UAV, unmanned area vehicle, that's just the platform, otherwise called a drone. And it's a portable aircraft without a human pilot on board. The flight is controlled either autonomously by computers in the office, in the vehicle, or under the remote control of a pilot on the ground or in another vehicle. But the vehicle itself, the drone itself, has no human presence in it. Then, what we should be calling it, really, is the unmanned area system. Because the UAV is just the drone. It's like when you are doing area photography, you have aircraft, isn't it? And inside aircraft, you have what? Area camera. So it's the two that we use for area survey. So in this case, too, you want to use unmanned area system, which includes the unmanned vehicle, that's the drone, plus the payload. Payload is the camera, okay? And the control system, which is located in an office. Next slide. So the flight time can range from 3 hours to even 340 hours, 2 weeks, 14 days. You can have such. So carrying different weight. So, which means that if you can last for 2 weeks, then it means you can cover a wider area. So the one that they use for us in the party, that Zoom on, that one is just here and there, just having a camera that will show who you are. So it's limited. So you cannot fly beyond a certain distance. Next slide. These are some examples of the drones, the platform. Next slide. Another example of the platform that we need to have. Then again, this one on the left is the one that we use for thermal imaging. All right, so it's outside on the outside the aircraft itself. Whereas the other ones for the mapping is under the drone. It's under the drone. So this is an example of the control room, where there's somebody sitting down to actually discover, to know how things are going and so on. So next slide. I'm happy that many practicing surveyors are now having even their own drones. Many surveyors are having it now. I think Afrigis has like 6. That's Rectors, like 6. In my department, where they gave it out to supply, but we didn't hear anything. I think the person did not know where to get it or whatever. You know, they normally don't come back to you. what we just saw suddenly were 10 projectors. So that's another. So now it is very useful for surveying and mapping of small areas, about 10 square kilometers, especially in dangerous environments that will require very high centimeter level resolution. If they are going to shoot it down, is the drone they are shooting down? No human being. But then if you shoot it down, it means there is insecurity in the place. So you can trace where the gun is coming from, isn't it? And so you can do something about it. So they better allow it to fly without shooting it down. Moreover, sensor technology in the last few years has been sufficiently reduced in terms of size and weight to be considered for UAV platforms. So a UAV can now carry very efficient camera sensor without actually increasing the size of the drone itself. Especially LiDAR-equipped UAV are now available, and they can be used to capture point cloud data for production of 3D environmental information without the need for GPS and other sensors. You will not even need GPS again. You know, when you are doing aircraft air survey, you always, sometimes you have, and so on. But now you will not even need, and so on. So it will carry everything and you have it. For example, with a combination of laser and multispectral and hyperspectral sensors on board, UAVs will be very useful in mapping the forest areas of Borno and other places in the fight against the Boko Haram terrorism, even in the southwest and wherever they are now. Next slide. Okay. The UAS area imaging can provide flexibility that is unsurpassed by other technologies. For instance, the equipment's portability gives ability to function in a wider variety of adverse weather situations, such that mapping can be done closer to the time of need. Because cloud cover is really a challenge, as UAVs typically fly below the clouds. So if you have an accident, if you have an attack, if you have disaster management, like the unfortunate thing that happened in Ibadan late last year, was it this year already? I think this year. You just go there with drone, okay, and then you have it. And it was done because I saw things being flying around and so on, showing one vehicle on top of another. So I think it was normal photographic drone. But they should have used UAS, unmanned area system, to be able to map and compute the area affected and the buildings that were actually affected accurately. Okay? So that's and then they can compare it to the previous image of the area. Okay? And that is why we need to have databases and so on in the state and mapping, current mapping of the state. Unfortunately, the Surveyor General of Oyo State is not here to know when are they doing the mapping of the state. So in fact, US has been advocated as the panacea when focus areas need to be mapped with timely generation of data products under conditions that will test the capabilities of other tools. So I encourage us to also improve. So many institutions are now training people on how to use UAS. Even among you, surveyors that are training others to do that. So please do that as soon as possible. Next slide. Okay, these are different areas of application. General mapping based for GIS, planimetric and topographic mapping. Next slide. Next slide. Damage assessment of hazard or hazard evaluation mapping during disasters such as floods and fires. Next slide. Post-disaster mapping of focus areas for assistance and remediation following floods and other natural or man-made events. Next slide. This is an example of what we call the quadrangle in OAU. That's when you enter and you see the administrative building, you go around, you see the library and so on. That is we use the drone we don't have in my department for now. If your state branch of NIS wants to assist, you can donate a drone to the Department of Surveying and Geoinformatics OAU. You know, yes, so because we are still waiting for your state NIS. Ogun State has done their own. Osun State has done. Ekiti has done. Lagos State has done. So only Oyo State we are waiting for. You are called, aha. Okay. Aha. So a drone will be the best thing. A UAS will be the best thing. So this was done because for heritage mapping, they wanted to include the OAU in the archival of this world heritage, of heritage people, places that they should know, because of the peculiarity of the buildings and the things like that we have. That's why it was Afrigist that did this that gave us the drone to do this. Next slide. Next slide. Aha. Another key one that we must also not leave behind when we are harvesting ideas and when we are trying to move forward to see how we improve our competencies in surveying and geoinformatics is the issue of laser scanning. And laser simply means light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. And it is a system that produces digital surface model, because we do also need it. It's an assemblage of various sensors, recording devices, and software. And the core component is laser instrument that measures distances, referred to as laser ranging. So the laser emits a beam of high intensity, but monochromatic light within a very narrow spectral band, usually smaller than 10 nanometer. Okay. So the laser ranging is mostly done with light in the near infrared range. And the laser range finder can be mounted on an aircraft to measure the near vertical distance to the terrain at short time intervals. Next slide. So the finder can register single or multiple returns of a single pulse. All right. So the laser that registers only one return pulse is capable of recording only one surface, either the top of the terrain or the bottom of the terrain point, depending on the pulse. The first pulse or the last pulse. The first pulse, the one that comes first, is the top. The last one, the one that comes last, is from the bottom. So the one that registers multiple returns can select both the first and the last returns of the same pulse, making it possible, because it has to be the same pulse to be talking about the same point. So making it possible to measure difference in height. So for instance, vegetation mapping, when you subtract one from the other. So if you combine the sensor with GNSS and attitude of aircraft, it is possible to determine the model of terrain surface in terms of 3D coordinates. Okay, so next slide. So after the flight, the laser instrument recording and the position and orientation system from the integrated GPS and IMU will be co-registered to same time and then converted to XYZ for each point that was hit by the laser beam. So you see that we need to work on data, big data analytics, because you are talking about so many cloud, there's so many point cloud that are gathering together. So the raw set of XYZ coordinates are further processed for information extraction. For instance, to extract building, to extract trees, and filter the DSM to obtain the DTM. DSM is the digital surface model. The DTM is actually the terrain level, digital terrain model. If the coordinate system is defined such that Z refers to elevation, then the digital surface model becomes digital elevation model. Next slide. And the height provided is not necessarily elevation above the predefined datum, not necessarily above minor datum. So as the raw depth gives the elevation of the terrain surface, the sensor sees. Okay? So that raw DSM will be post-processed. Georeferencing and all the other things that we do to give the digital terrain model, that is the elevation of bare ground surface above a defined vertical datum, by replacing elevation value at non-ground points by estimate of elevation of ground surface, otherwise called vegetation removal or diverging. Okay, so that's so as per performance characteristics, it has high-ranging precision. It uses high-resolution digital surface model in near real time and little dependence on weather conditions and time of flying. If it is airborne, we call it airborne laser scanning or LiDAR, what we call light detection and ranging. So when it is airborne, if it's on the satellite, because the laser can be in the satellite, it can even be horizontal and things like that. So, but LiDAR will be airborne. So several air survey providers can offer simultaneous collection of laser data and multispectral data. Most popular are combining laser scanner with an infrared scanner or a 4-channel RGB and near-infrared scanner, so that they can have even the mapping as well as having the height information at the same time. Next slide. So in that situation, you don't need to fly like the area photography will do to have topography distance. That is, you have it in runs, overlap of 2 runs, side overlap, front overlap. You don't need all that. So it can operate day and night, though cannot penetrate cloud like microwave radar does, but it can operate under the cloud ceiling. You can fly under this cloud. Flying height can be as low as 50 meters. It can operate on helicopter or fixed-wing aircraft and on unmanned aerial vehicle. And it can see through vegetation because its beam is narrow. It does not depend on terrain texture. It gives dense data, 1 point per 0.5 to 4 square meters. And the accuracy between 10 and 30 centimeters. Very accurate. So, and all data acquisition is digital. You don't need ground control, and then there is fast data processing. So, this is really very important. The applications include floodplain mapping and flood prediction, erosion and landslide mapping, transportation and infrastructure development, power line mapping, pipeline mapping, urban mapping, airport mapping, forestry, mining, monitoring of deposits and excavations, 3D, GIS, and so on. I think this is the last one that I want us to harvest as part of our ideas that we are harvesting, which we need to contribute to. And I always emphasize all these, all the points that are for you, all the YSN, because you are the ones we are looking forward, we are looking towards you for progress and development in this country and everywhere. There is what we call space-enhanced methodology for systematic land titling and registration. What we do know to develop cadastral database is to do what? Carry our theodolite or total station or GNSS receiver, go to the field and do the coordinate measurements. And then we plot and we have our database. But the International Federation of Surveyors, FIG, not Kufonio, not Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reform, International Federation of Surveyors, FIG, has said we should move beyond that and ensure that we actually carry out systematic land titling and registration in every country in order to contribute to sustainable development at every level. So according to the Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reform, 3%, I've talked about this before, only 3% of the land in the whole country has been registered. And even at the global level, according to NMAC, the president of FIG before, over 70% of the world's people-to-land relations are not documented and are outside the formal land administration domain, thus hampering ease of doing business. That is why they are encouraging everybody, that's FIG, to actually look into SLTR using space-enhanced methodology. Next slide. One of the indicators that we use for the global ease of doing business ranking is the ease of registering property. And the ease of registering property indicator is measured by the procedures, the time and cost to transfer a property and the quality of the land administration system in the country. So I've shown this before. According to the Ease of Registering Property report in 2020, out of 190 countries that were surveyed, Rwanda ranked third globally and first in Africa on ease of registering property. Mauritius ranked 23rd globally and second in Africa, while Nigeria at that time ranked 183rd globally and 48th in Africa out of the 48 African countries that were included in the survey. Why are we shouting Rwanda today? Because they immediately imbibed the systematic land titling and registration using space-enhanced technology. That quickens their ease of registering properties. Next figure. From this figure is a pity that we are not able to project it. This is not something just from the blues. This was as a result of a study that myself and Chubo Ware Kuromo were actually contracted to carry out for the entire Africa on the socio-economic benefits of geospatial information. So we compared the comparisons of selected African and non-African countries and ease of doing business and ease of registering property in 2020 and see the correlation. Now, the taller the bar, the poorer the rank. Okay? So when you see very tall bar, it means the rank is number 180 something. You see? So the shorter the bar, the better the performance. And that's why you will see in Rwanda. Where's Rwanda? Look at Rwanda. Ease of registering property, very short. So that means they are number one because it's the shortest bar here. Ease of doing business is also almost number one. You can compare it to United States. Ease of registering properties, Rwanda is out competing United States. Ease of doing business, yes, they are okay. They are out competing Rwanda because they have a lot of infrastructure, electricity, and so on. Where are we? Nigeria. The tallest, you see? So which means we are at the back, okay? This we must work towards. And ease of registering property depends on who. What caused number 48 for Nigeria? Because the major problem came from us, surveyors. Before you can register the property, there must be a survey plan, there must be all this. It was taking 30 days and so on. That is the problem. We are the one causing the problem for the ease of registering properties. So if we quicken it, then everything will improve, you know. Next slide. Therefore, to achieve modernization of land administration, a fit-for-purpose approach of SLTR has been recommended by the World Bank, the FIG, and other global land administration players. The approach recommends the use of high-resolution satellite images for the demarcation and survey of parcels. That was the recommendation, and that was the one Rwanda used. But when we were in the PTCLR, Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reform, myself, Surveyor Yahya Mohammed, the representative of the Office of Surveyor General of the Federation, we recommended that, look, let us use orthophoto, because that will even help us to have orthophoto that we don't have before, instead of just using high-resolution satellite images. The approach also recommends the use of general boundaries without monumentation to identify or delineate land rights. They are saying, no, you don't need to waste time to monument. But we now say, no, for the PTSCLR that we can still monument, do what we want to do SLTR, and ask the owner of the land who wants to really have properly demarcated one, can then ask the surveyor to continue to be there and then get the parcel, the corner points established. So the approach, so next slide. One major area of concern is the accuracy of the space-based, space-enhanced methodology for land titling and registration. That's the concern that surveyors have. However, we did a research at OAU, culminating in the PhD for Dr. Oluwadare, on the assessment of space-enhanced systematic land titling and registration in Ondo State, Nigeria. So the result indicated that the average deviations of the coordinates obtained using systematic orthophoto-based, not just high-resolution image, but orthophoto-based method from the assumed standard coordinates obtained by sporadic conventional GNSS survey method. They call that one sporadic. So method are 0.176 meters and 0.37 meters along S and Y axis respectively, with linear accuracy of 1 to 193,000, which is within the first order survey as well above the third order accuracy of 1 to 3,000 that is required for cadastral surveying. But we also feel that establishment of survey coordinates and monumentation can still be encouraged. That is, we can still alter what FIG recommended by using GNSS core stations, continuously operating reference stations, which we do have now, to actually move from approximate boundary representation towards survey accurate boundary representation and still meeting the needs of SLTR. So, and then facilitating expansion from 2D cadastre to include the third and the fourth dimensions, that is the height and the time element, thus making cadastral data set fully ready to be a component of the fundamental data sets of the national spatial data infrastructure. So I want to encourage every state to actually look into the implementation of systematic land tenure and registration in each state. When you do that, it's going to improve revenue generation because we know which parcel of land is where and what are they using it for. Has he paid tax? Is he evading tax? In Lagos today, they can just send things to you. In Oyo State, it's happening. The first time I received something on my house, and I looked at it, that I needed to pay land use charge. I said, oh, that's good. How did they come about it? All right, I paid. But 2 weeks after, I received another one. And I looked at it. No, this can't be my house. So, and I know where the problem must have come. Because I'm aware that Oyo State did not do a survey of the area mapping of the state. That I was sure of. So I went to the office with the two. I said, look, I have this. Can you bring your system and show me the 2 houses on it? I said, no, I know what I'm saying. You got this from Google now. So open it. I will tell you where this house is and which one is mine so that you can correct it once and for all. So they now open it and I told them where the other house is. And my own is here. And I told them that look, this GNC that you put beside my house, it is about 2 kilometers away from my house. So they need to do proper mapping to be able to do that, to be able to do that. And the systematic lantern, once every state that wants money, if they do this thing, revenue, mama flow. Lagos State, they have it already. So they can just come to your house and where is your money? They are doing it here, I said, in Oyo State, but they need to have a more accurate data set by carrying out a systematic land titling and registration using space-based approach. Okay, next slide. To conclude and to recommend, just have one slide for that. we need to put in place a GNSS-based National Geodetic Reference Frame to be in effective use. If we want to actually do SLTR and all the other ones, they must be in operation and they must be there, so we must know which one is available and where it is. So we need to have a sustained implementation of the National Geospatial Data Infrastructure and policies, and we need to fund space and geospatial technology activities at every level, state, national, and everything. They need to fund it. If they are properly funded, then there will be little problem. Infrastructure can be developed easily and so on. We have to improve on human capacity building and networking, and then we have to provide enabling infrastructure, electricity and power, very important. We should also work with the private sector. Public-private partnership is the in thing now. So it is essential for states, national, local government to work together with the private sector to ensure that we get things done. Next slide. Before I say thank you, you can be reading this. There's something I want to honestly leave with you to think about. Your Young Surveyors Network of Nigeria. In 1998, how many years was that? 26, I think. During the survey coordination meeting in Ondo State, and I think it even started a bit before then, the issue of how do we ensure that we have competent capacity to teach our students and to maintain and retain them came up. And people cited examples of different countries and different professional bodies where their colleagues in academics are also allowed to practice. So somebody now raised a question there that, look, no, we have no problem. I don't want to mention the name of the person, my friend, who had also been a president of NIS, incidentally. So at that time, he was not. I said, look, nobody is saying no. They can, once their boss allows them. At that time, I happened to be rector of Federal School of Surveying. Then I was on the other table. I said, okay, please, can I speak? They gave it to me. I said, look, I'm now putting on my cap as the chief executive of an institution. And I'm saying publicly now that we, through me to the governing council of the school, we will allow our lecturers to practice. Is that okay? Then I say, no, that's not what we mean. That's not what, you see? Now, why do we need it? I will tell you just two reasons. Seated amongst you, even among YSN, we probably have so many MSc holders practicing. We have many like that in every state practicing. We are only 3. There will be 3. We are only 4 in our department in surveying and geoinformatics at OAU, lecturing. Only 4 of us, myself and 3 others. I'm leaving in September, remaining 3. We couldn't start MSc because we were short-staffed. If not for Dr. Fadansi, Dr. Iloye, Dr. Olunlade, Yila, current rector of FSS, current director of Afrijis, Professor Ojigi, Lola Olanika, that are helping us to teach our students, we will be having problem. We have graduated 3 sets now. We couldn't start MSc. We are only praying that the 2 young surveyors who are now registered will not japa into practice. So that is a big problem. In Southeast, Northeast, and so on, they are able to keep the lecturers because they allow their lecturers to practice. You know, don't forget, Stockholm allows initially 25%, later they allow 50%. They allow them there, so they are able to retain their lecturers to actually teach and then also to practice. In our own case, as soon as people get registered, they leave, and we don't have lecturers. And yet, we have a lot of MSc holders, PhD holders among practicing surveyors. so that we should be able to employ those people to come and join us. I'm not looking at the issue of me to be able to practice. I won't. I have the level, what I am doing, I have it. So I won't have time for that. I have always been recommending things to be surveyed to people to do, because there are so many other things that occupy my time. But because of my love for the institution and the growth of surveying and geoinformatics, that's why since 1998 I have not relented in my advocacy for this. And I want you to come. The second one is the fact that I was speaking with Professor Pellet one day. He's a professor, he's an Israeli lecturing in one of the universities, and we were having an ISPRS meeting. So it was just shortly after the council meeting. And then he told me we were talking about he was talking about his practice. And I said, Ahmed, are you practicing? He said, Jide, what kind of question are you asking me? I said, well, they don't, in our own country, they don't allow those in academics to practice. I said, repeat that. Then I said it again. He said, then in that case, I must be careful to admit any of your students for MSc. That I will think twice, because your products will not be able to meet up with what we want if their lecturers are not practicing. That it means they only understand textbook things, they don't know what is happening in the field. That I have to be honest with you, Jide. I will now have to think twice before I admit your students for MSc in my university. Secondly, in my faculty, in OAU there, every other department that people are practicing, only surveying and geoinformatics, they always laugh at us. So they say, that's why you don't have lecturers now. So please think about it. It is not about taking your job. It is about improving the products that come out from us and ensuring that we retain the lecturers that we have and get additional ones from amongst you. Very intellectual people amongst you. So please, I want to leave you. I might have created additional enemies for myself by saying this, but there's no problem. I still have to say that. So thank you very much. You do not need a good memory if you always speak the truth. If you have questions,
hello. Please put your hands together for our when we want to, get registered, and instead of just get registered and be practicing, you can also lecture and do that simultaneously. Thank you very much, sir, for the lecture. Please put your hands together for our keynote speaker one more time. All right. So basically, we are moving at the speed of a jet. So right about now, we are going to have a 10-minute recess, okay, before we come in for our lecture by the guest speaker. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much, our fellow, the fellow in these professions. Thank you so much for staying till this time. Thank you, everyone, for hanging around. So we are going to have, is Emmy Sachs ready to, is Emmy Sachs here? Okay, yeah, Emmy Sachs, I'm expecting